ever been scared? I mean, like really scared. Like, man, I hate spiders. I absolutely, on a regular basis, if I thought about what scares me the most, it would have to be spiders. I hate them. I absolutely hate them. Daddy Longlegs, I can live with them, but the rest of them, like even right now in this closet, I wonder if they're plotting to attack while I'm here unsuspecting. Actually, I'm suspecting, so I don't know how they get me, but I think this is when they would. But I mean, like, have you ever been really scared? And I mean bigger than just scared because why is Steve videoing from a closet in the church? While concerning, it's not scary. Well, for some of you it is, and maybe it should be. But anyway, like I remember when our church growing up used to go on this backpack trip to the mountains of Colorado, and we would go way back in. And we would take these trips every summer. And I remember this particular summer we went to a place called West Lost Lake. And we went in about 5 miles, but we'd gone way out. We were in the middle of nowhere. And to get to the drop-off point, hiking in, all this stuff. And I remember we went out fishing. We got there, got the tent set up, and we decided to go out fishing. The lake was just right there. West Lost Lake was right there. And, you know, some of the leaders and students were all around the lake. And so I just was walking around, walking and going from fishing spot to fishing spot. And all of a sudden, I looked up and realized I was alone. That it was dark. I could just see the sun setting over the mountains, but it was dark. I didn't have a flashlight, and I didn't see anybody around. And I'm going to tell you, I was freaked out. Freaked out that right then, every mountain lion in Colorado, every bear in Colorado, they were all coming to get me, and I wasn't going to see it. It was dark. And I remember I started walking around that lake because I couldn't see. I was afraid I was going to fall in a hole, all these different things. And I remember just all of a sudden, I was at this point when I just thought, how am I going to make it? I could still see the fire now. I could get to where I was seeing the fire of the campsite, but it was far enough away that I didn't even think they could hear me. And it was right then to my side that one of my friend's dads was right there fishing. I hadn't even seen him. And I'm going to tell you, hearing his voice almost brought tears to my eyes because this fear was so great and the relief was so great. So fear, is this thing and that is real. And fear is a vital response to emotional and physical danger. It's something that it's important that we have. It's there for a reason. There's reasons to be afraid. I mean, the bears were there. The mountain lions weren't that far. But, there's reasons to be afraid. And so, we're starting this new series called Unpause. And we're talking about how, we've been on this large pause for a while now, and we're getting ready to hit unpause. Now, I realize the timeline for that is different, and I don't know what the time's going to be, but at some point, we will hit unpause. And are you ready to do that? Have you really thought about this? And one of the big things that this has brought about, I think, has been maybe fear. Maybe for some of us, it's been fear of our life. Just, we weren't sure. We knew we were hearing initially of more people who were dying, it seemed like. And so I remember as a church, we talked about, this is something that we're going to have to deal with. This is a reality in the lives of our congregation. And then I've talked to some people, including people I'm very close with, that have talked about a fear of how this is going to impact their life. How will this impact my livelihood? How will this impact our world moving forward? How will this impact my senior year next year? I've seen what it already did to these guys, to this year's seniors, and what's it going to do to mine next year? There is fears that we have with this. And so the thing I want us to think about, though, some of these are things that are things that we need to think about and respond to. Some of these are things that I just want us to think more about because, again, as a Christian, what is the role of fear in my life? How important is this fear? Isaiah 41:8-10 says, "But you, O Israel, my servant Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, my friend, you whom I took from the ends of the earth, and call from the farthest corners, saying to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and not cast you off. Fear not, for I am with you. Fear not, for I am with you. Fear not, for I am with you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. And so this is God talking to Israel, his chosen people, and he's reminding them that he is with them, that he has not left them. Obviously, he's speaking to people who were experiencing fear, but there's this statement that's saying, I am God, and I am going to walk through this with you. I have not left you alone. Psalm 23. Psalm 23 is probably one of the greatest psalms in the Bible, and it's one that I think just, reminds us so much of who God is and him walking with us. And one of the lines that always stands out is, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. It's this presence of God that's there. If you're a sheep, and you're out there and you feel the shepherd's staff, there's this comfort in knowing that I am not out here alone. That if something tries to get me, I have somebody who is here to protect me. And do you believe that? Do you believe that God is walking with you? So as we go through this COVID, he is walked through this with us. And I think of how bad this could have been. And I'm not saying we haven't lost a lot of lives, and I'm not saying that it isn't still out there and real, but God, I believe, has walked with us and has protected us in many, many ways. And so, I just want to remind us of that there's that fear is natural. The thing is that I think you got to worry about is, when does fear place that? One of the things is, I looked up some things about fear. One of the things that it was talking about was, a phobia is a distinct fear or anxiety about a specific object or situation. It consistently provokes fear or causes distress. The fear is disproportional to the true danger the object or event possesses. When I think about things like a spider, let's be honest. Ann was looking up the other day because I was pulling some wood out of the old shed I had, and she looked it up online, and it turns out, I don't know that I believe this, but that there is no poisonous spiders in Ohio. So truthfully, digging even old wood out of this shed, really don't need to worry about the spider, even if they're there, scary looking and all this stuff. They may bite, but they're not poisonous. And so this fear is, my fear that I have for spiders is definitely disproportionate to really the danger that's there. And what are things, that sometimes cripple us from doing and maybe being who God wants us to be, because we're crippled by fear. And maybe that's fear of taking a step into doing something we should be doing. Maybe in this time when we're confronted with the fact that people in our society are treated differently than others, that racism exists. Maybe we're sitting there going, I don't know what to do to respond. And yet maybe there's this fear in going, if I respond, I just don't know what the outcome's going to be. And yet God's going, I want you to make a difference. I want you to do something about this. I just want us to think about, as you think about hitting on pause, and we've been confronted with fear maybe in a different way, or maybe there's fears that you still have thinking about moving forward, thinking about your senior year, thinking about your own health. Will we trust God in this time? Are you willing to give your fears to him? And that's not saying I just now go walk across the street blindfolded because I don't need to have fear. God's going to protect me. No, I still need to be smart. God gave me a brain. God gave me, intelligence. It doesn't mean I just need to run around and lick doorknobs, right now. That's not a good plan. And, it's going, I want to trust God with where my fear is. Am I willing to go? I've had real fears, and I want to trust God in this, respect those things, but at the same time, trust in a God who's able to walk through that valley of the shadow of death with me and walk alongside me. I hope you guys think about this. Think about hitting on pause. Maybe we look at fear a little bit differently. Things that maybe it's keeping us back from doing, preventing us from being everything God wants us to be. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. And I just want to say that I just want to apologize. I want to apologize to my mother, and I want to apologize to her mother. And I want to apologize to Anne's mother. Oh, I'm so scared. I want to apologize to Caroline's mother and to Cody's mother. And I want to apologize to Ray if he knew I tried to light candles in here originally and then saw there was a sprinkler in here. I want to apologize to him. I'm actually most afraid of that getting found out. So hope you have a great weekend and look forward to seeing you guys next week.